The title is Matriculation, and I would say a subtitle is going to be something to the effect of being coachable. So somebody can actually tell you something. You know those really good, um, individuals that are really talented, but our artists are incredibly good at this. They're really talented, but then they've also taken on the persona of a diva or something that they have to have things a certain way, and they become very rigid and fixed in the way they want to function. And that's fine, except that when the actual playing field or the ground changes under you, then that fixated perspective can become outdated, and you're not able to adapt. So there's a balance between really having some good habits and then still being flexible on improving what you already know. So you only know that it's an individual personal assessment. So today I'm gonna take you through some scenarios, and the 3 points I want to bring out. Number one, be able to take correction. Be able to take correction. And we'll talk about that. Second one is stand in position consistently. Stand in position consistently. And that, I think I would say on that, is to be consistent in your position. And that when I say that, be consistent in your faithfulness to God. He might move you around and have you tell you some things and give you greater revelation, but to be consistent in your relationship with God, stay in position to be accessible to Him. The third one would be expect a bigger attack and gird yourself accordingly. Expect a bigger attack and gird yourself accordingly. So I would hope that Minister Bolden gives me a talk all the time about don't be so caught up in the clouds that you don't turn around and say, "Get back, devil." So you have to kind of be praising God on the front end, but turn your hand around and say, "I see you, back up," and simultaneously. So it's both at the same time. So let me go back to point one. Be able to take correction. I'm going to talk about types of talent. There's this is a shooting range scenario. It's a true story, and I don't remember where I heard it. I just remember the message of it was that they were training sharpshooters, and one in particular. So people were, you had to kind of try to get to the bullseye, and then you try to get to the bullseye of the bullseye, and if you're really good, you can hit the same spot without even creating another bullet hole because it keeps going through the same place. But there was a gentleman that was shooting on his target was there, and he was shooting, and this is when I talk about being coachable, he was shooting up and to the right, but they were all landing within a very close proximity to each other. So, but he was up and to the right, and a coach will say, he's not, and people were this is the other factor, people were criticizing him because he was not hitting the bullseye at all, but he was hitting his spot consistently. So what the coach knowing, the trainer, knew, then because see, this is what's good about being a coach, where to make the adjustment, because you're fitting people all the time with their talent. So you know where to cut, where to pull out a little bit, where to do, how to help them tailor their gifts so that they can be the top performer in whatever it is that they're doing. That's one of the benefits of being a teacher or a coach, is that you can recognize, you start to be able to see that talent comes in different packages, but then there's a maximum top performance potential for the package. And it does not look necessarily like it's the same thing when it comes in the door. You have to be discerning. That's a key word on what that actually looks like. It's not cookie cutter, because really true unique talent is extreme, but then it has its own little quirks attached to it. So in this particular scenario, the shooting range instructor adjusted his rifle and adjusted his telescope inside of his rifle and told him how to adjust it. and he brought it down, and then the guy never missed. He just had to have a little bit of an adjustment, but he could see the potential because he kept hitting. He wasn't shooting all over the place. He was shooting wrong exactly in the right place. Excuse me, he was shooting wrong consistently in the right place. If I wanted to give you a scenario, I would look at Paul. Paul had the zeal, he had the knowledge, he had the fervor, he was going at it, he was taking the initiative, he was just shooting the wrong place, but he had all the other features, but he was up to the right. He was killing Christians versus let me take all that talent and just pivot it around unto the will of God, and then we have something. I know you can look at several situations today and groups of people and say, wow, what they would be mighty in the presence of God, or they'd be mighty in here in the in Congress, in Senate, or as a teacher, as a athlete, as a this or that, because they had the talent. It was just going in the wrong direction. They were applying it to the wrong process. That's the same thing that Paul was doing. But that's the difference. You can be less talented and very coachable, or you can be super, and that's one thing. Then you can be super less talent, marginally talented, basic talented but coachable, or you can be extremely talented but non-coachable. And in the process of being a coach, which one would they pick? They would pick the talent, great talent, but very coachable, because then they can still add. This person is able to take correction. This person is able to make adjustments. This person is pliable. They listen. I was looking at a feature where this coach was actually it was about coaches. This coach was talking to Serena, the tennis player, and he said that the first time on one of their training for Wimbledon, that she came late and then did a bunch of other stuff, but she was just doing her thing as a star tennis player. And he said, I knew she was not going to respect me, and if she didn't respect me, she wasn't going to listen, and I couldn't coach her, aka I would not have the success with this particular student, no matter who they are, that I needed to have. And so this is here we come into the point of humility. And he said he walked up to her, and he said he pushed her or tapped her on the arm, but in an aggressive kind of a way, and got her attention. And she says he said there's two things I require. And number one was, don't ever show up to my practices late. But he had to get her respect. And then she said, and what's the second thing? Immediately, they had no problem after that, because he established some parameters so that she could learn in them. And so, again, humility, coming under. You might learn how to pray or how to do something specific in the spirit realm or in the physical realm from somebody that you would think possibly doesn't know, or that someone that doesn't even have all the comprehensive talent you have, but they know something. They know a one thing. And sometimes God will take you into environments where you'll learn a one thing. You'll learn, for example, you might, I always talk about janitors, but they're, to me, some of the greatest situations in the world, because they're doing their job, and they are no less or more important than anybody else in the office. But they see a lot. They see a lot, and they have they have done a lot of miraculous things have happened. That story, Goodwill Hunting. He was a janitor, but he was also brilliant mathematician, but he could not focus enough to get that part of his talent out. So he was being a janitor, and then God intervened, and a whole bunch of other stuff happened, but God intervened through people, and a bunch of other stuff happened. But learning how to see, sometimes you look at this, I'm diverting a little bit here, but sometimes when you look at people and you look at them in their capacity of their occupation, that has no indication of what their capacity is. It's an eye, a discerning eye can kind of see. Evelyn Champagne King was that beautiful voice was cleaning bathrooms, and she was singing in the bathroom while she was cleaning, and she got discovered that way. Tyranny Sutton, same thing, singing in the bathroom, and somebody told her you could really make something out of that, and she's a jazz singer to this day. But again, they're doing one thing because they didn't have the wherewithal yet to get started on the other. And so being coachable and being able to be corrected is really important, because that's the only way you're ever going to stay at the top of your game. You have expert advisors at that next expert level, and seek to get corrected, seek to do it better. Let's give you an example of this, talking about this. Kindergarten, there's lots of systems that have to be grown up and then pruned down. Grown up, and that's just a process. Grown up and then pruned down. So when they put you in the military, they break you down so they can build you back up. You've heard that before. You have people that are bring their children in to coaches and say, I'd like you to turn this really great skater into an Olympic star. They're looking for some things. They're looking for coachability, discipline, passion, practice, form. They can correct you on the form. They're looking for hungry to do it, meaning are you going to work 15 hours a day? Are you going to put the time in? I can give you the instruction, but then you have to take this good instruction and internalize it into some functional, formidable tools, meaning you have to incorporate, you have to eat it. So you have to eat it. What does that mean? An example of eating it is when I gave you the example that Kobe Bryant did 400 free throws at the end of a game, because he was developing a talent for being able to make the basket under the stress of fatigue. Navy SEAL training, they train them to the point of breaking, and then they teach them to go past it. They teach them how to not die. They teach them how to not leave somebody there. But you got to go past your comfort zone to get into that expert area, that 1%, that top performer. And that top performer is when you get to a condition of, I really don't want to do this, but nevertheless, not my will, thy will be done. I will go in. That's a top performer. Daniel, we just made a decree that everybody that prays and doesn't pray to the king, we're going to do something terrible to him. Daniel went, well, you know where I'll be. I'm going to be right up on that top of that, over there facing east, open my window. I'll be praying 3 times a day. I'll meet you over there. He didn't budge, but God was faithful. So, God sees you in your talent, and you can't, the enemy, as opposed to personalities you see today, you see people, I'm going to give you some descriptions. I know what I'm doing. I'm just as good as such and such. I will ascend to be like the Most High. My ego is so engaged in, my pride is so out there. My ego is so out there. Me, I. That is a closed system. You can't get anything into it, and it will spin out when it's not in control. The enemy spins out when he's not in control, and people that are influenced by the enemy spin out when they're not in control, because something has gone wrong with the control panels, and they're not front and center. That is a characteristic of the pit of hell. And this is how you have to know people by their spirit. God can take a stranger, like he took a Paul, who was actually functioning very effectively on the other side of the fence. He was functioning to kill Christians, but his heart was earnestly in it. He thought he was working for the kingdom of God, but he wasn't. And the Lord said, Saul, why does thou persecute me? And he says, who are you? I'm Jesus. And then you know what happened after that. But his heart was in it, and the Lord just pulled him over to the other side. I mean, there's a lot of bad actors that started out on the wrong side, and God still loved them because of their sincere passion. They were not into deception. So anyway, I digress. Let me get back over here. Be able to be corrected. Coachability. That is the most important thing when you walking in the presence of God. Be able to let him tell you something, and be able to let somebody else tell you something, because you might hear something walking down the street. Like I told you, God has angels. We entertain angels unaware. Angels will tell you a lot. They don't talk a lot, but what they say is very, very powerful if you have an encounter. Sometimes he'll use people, one sentence wonders, one sentence miracles. They give you one sentence and it sends you in a different direction. So you got to listen. You might hear it from anywhere, and you will especially likely, this is a clue, you are especially likely to hear a very important piece of information from a humble appearance, a humble casing, like a janitor, like a teacher that you don't respect very well, or the mechanic, or your grandmother, somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of book knowledge but got a lot of God knowledge. You might hear something from something that's plainly stated, simple wrapped packages. When I was a stockbroker, we knew the people that didn't have a lot of money but were flow showing. They're always coming there all dressed up, just talking big numbers and doing all that stuff. The one to watch for was that one that came in with his little a little Hawaiian shirt on and some flip flops. That probably was the millionaire, because they actually have gone past caring. They're not trying to impress you. They're sizing you up to see if you're going to get any of their money. It don't look like you think it looks. You have to have a keen eye to look past it. It's a brilliant person can look past the package. Always look past the package. So that'll be another talk for another day, because there's a whole lot in that. Look past I'm writing it down. Okay, the next topic, let me see how I'm doing on my time. Okay, the next topic is stand in position. This is important. You can get everything done. You can put baking a cake. You could put this baking a cake and spiritual processes very similar. This is important. You can put all the ingredients in the cake, mix it all up, and then put it in the oven. And you have to what? You have to leave it alone. Why do you have to leave it alone? Because there is a process that all the ingredients that you put in there need to go through before it comes out. Now, if you don't open up your mouth, if you don't jump in the way, if you don't go tit for tat, if you stand still, then you will see what God has already done. Because of prayers you prayed in the past, you got to give it time to sit in the oven, sit in the process, and let it do its work. And you can't move position. They could be saying, I can't stand you. I don't like you. You this, you that, I don't know why I did this. I don't know why kids. I don't want you to be my mother. I don't know what kind of horrible son you are. I don't know what kind of wife, what kind of husband, what kind of teacher, what kind of employee. You're just talking crazy. But you got to stand in position, because the cake is in the oven. God's doing a work, and don't you move out of position. And then, but lo and behold, one day, quick or slow, however it's going to happen, staying faithful, staying in the position, that cake you leave it on 375 for 30, 45 minutes, depending on what kind of cake it is, 45 minutes. And you look in there, you just crack the door, okay, you see it rising, and then it will look done on the outside, but it's not done in the inside. You got to keep it in there. Cakes have to bake all the way through. Cement has to solidify and cure all the way through. Paint has to dry. Masterpiece paint has to dry. Getting a suit tailored, you got to give the tailor time. Processes take time. So you, woman or man of God, have to stay in position. Don't be tempted by, okay, if he says it this one more time, I'm going to do this. And the enemy likes the quick responses, the quick knee-jerk reactions, because if he can get you emotional, he can mess you up. You're not going to talk to me like that. Okay, you will miss your blessing. Keep your mouth shut. I'm telling you, the best multivitamin, spiritual multivitamin that I ever take is keep your mouth shut. I promise you. I don't say it 5 times a day. Shut up. To myself, don't you say a word. I'm sitting there and I will not open my mouth. Fewer words are better always. Fewer. because you tend to put a spin on it and you can get carried away because you see some stuff. Keep your mouth shut. That's the best. It's just the best thing ever. If I keep my mouth shut, I will see the glory of the Lord. I promise you. I will see stuff play out, see stuff happen, stuff move up, stuff move back, stuff happen. Just shut up, pray, and then shut up. Right? You need to write that down. That is the biggest path to a miracle, is to shut up. Biggest. If I'm gonna make a thing on that one too, called "Shut Up." And because that most of the time we put our mouth on it. I remember recently, Lord told me it's already done if you shut up, if you stop talking. If you could talk and mess it up. Just like you can talk and pull a cake out the oven and it starts to fall, or bread starts to fall, or you try to put the toothpick in there and it's not done, and you're trying to make it's not ready. Put it back in the oven so it can get all the way risen, all the way done in the inside, and it can be the beautiful cake that you want it to be. But stop. Don't pull it out and put it in, and don't put your mouth on it. It ain't ready. But that's the best. I'm telling you, that word is solid gold. When you're praying and dealing with God, if I could put that is such a powerful, wonderful word of shut up is the best thing ever. I can't even tell you how good it is. Because if you be quiet, you'll be smiling in the inside, and God will just be doing it. And even when you don't say, I told you so, and when it all happens, you just keep your mouth shut, let God get all the credit, and he will show you some stuff. He'll show you some stuff if you won't open your mouth and say something. He'll show you what's going to happen if you be quiet. But if you blabbermouth, he ain't going to tell you nothing, because you're going to go say something and mess it up. Anyway, that's another topic. Third point. Expect a bigger attack and gird yourself accordingly. Again, all these other topics, be coachable and shut up, stand in position, are key points to being able to handle a bigger attack, because the enemy can only attack you if you give him something to work with. All the other stuff will be quick to go to the side. But if you be quiet, listen to God, move to the left, move to the right, step up here, go here, do this, say this, pay that, do that, put your tithes in, make sure you keep up on everything else, and be quiet. And something will happen. Daniel was down in there with them lions, and him and the lions didn't do not one single thing. They didn't touch him. And he was sitting in there, and the king was, Daniel, are you okay? I'm fine. Pulled Daniel out and stuck the other ones in there, and the lions ate them up. See, the devil know who to cut up with. Be consistent. Be quiet. Let God expect a bigger attack. And what happens when you get a bigger attack? Put that cloak of prayer on. Hide yourself in a secret place of the Most High. Be quiet. Don't brag. Be humble. When you get in your Mercedes or in your Bentley, be humble. When you have to be humble. You don't have to wear a whole lot of jewelry. Let me tell you something. As I know you guys saw Kim Kardashian, that ring was so gorgeous. She didn't have to have 10 rings on. She had to have one. So that one did it. It was pow. God can bless you with the one. You don't have to have a whole bunch. It's the one. You ain't got to date everybody on dating lines and everything. You just need that one. The one big, I'm telling you, it's called a statement piece. And God will bless you with a statement piece in your life where people will look at you and go, nobody but God. I don't know how she got that position. I don't know how she got that. I don't know how she did this. I don't know how she got the deal. But goodness, just knocked it out the park. It was the one. And if you are prepared, God will take you to something and show you something that you have never seen before. So that's it. I have gone over my time, but 3 points I'm going to recap, and then we're going to do your scriptures. Number 1, be able to be coachable. Be able to take correction. That's number 1. Number 2, stand in position consistently. Stand in position consistently. AKA, stand there, be still, and shut up. If you said the prayer, stop talking. Let God do what he's going to do. Give him time to work. It ain't about SHUT space UP exclamation mark. Shh. That's powerful. Number 3, expect a bigger attack and gird yourself accordingly. Put that cloak on, keep your mouth shut, and let God do a great work. And the enemy can't find you. He that is secret place of the Most High. Be talking to God and mind your business. Be quiet. Be about doing God's work. Be about it quietly. And you're going to get that mega blessing because you didn't say nothing. God bless. That's it. Okay, let's go ahead and read our scriptures. I have Gloria, Lori, Theresa, and then I have Elodia, Jackie, Wanda, and Christine. Now, the thing about the scripture is that this is about example of being coachable. Peter was already a fisherman, but then he said, nevertheless, I'm going to do what you said because I'm going to do what you say, Lord, because I already know how to fish. I've been out there fishing. I didn't catch no fish, but Jesus said, drop it again. Peter was coachable, and he did it. And the second time was a memory situation because they so loved the Lord that when he said it, something clicked and they go, oh my God, that sounds like him. They knew it was. And Peter, they ran to him, and that's what he said at the end.